We continue discussing labor savings, and we're going to turn now the discussion to gym floors. And we're still talking about school settings, so we're talking about the gym floor for the games and for volleyball games, for basketball games, etc. Jake, can you take us through this topic and how we can help our customers save time and labor when they're working with their gym floors?
Yeah, so this is really the last area we haven't really talked about as far as, labor savings and in a school environment. So gym floors has always kind of been that anomaly where, people were either afraid to touch them themselves because it is a really, really expensive surface. So you don't want to damage it. And, I think it's really just a lack of knowledge and a lack of training, which is where we're trying to help, in instances like this podcast, kind of get the word out that if you have a gym floor, it's not too much for you to tackle. And we're here to help provide that training and that knowledge so that you can perform, this maintenance on the floors. So when we look at redoing a gym floor, historically, we've always had to go in with sand screens and you would sand the floor. You get dust everywhere. You have to tack the floor multiple times to get all of the dust up. Then you have to wait even longer because as you kick the dust up, a lot of times it gets pulled to the ventilation systems and then redistributed, over time back onto the floor. So you have to wait and give all that dust time to settle before you start putting finish down. And you obviously have to get it off the floor before you start that. So, it's always been at least anywhere from a 1 to really 5 day process in redoing a gym floor. With our Kote PC system, we're not using sand screens. So we're not creating the dust that you typically get in redoing a gym floor. The reason we don't have to use screens is because we don't need that heavy mechanical abrasion to the floor to get our Kote PC, which is a water-based urethane, to stick to the floor. Our product chemically bolts itself to the floor. Therefore, we do not need the heavy screening to open up the floor to accept the floor finish. So, talk about labor savings. You don't have to mitigate the dust really because there is no dust. So, we're not having to tack that floor multiple times to get all of that dust up. We're doing a single rinse with blue concentrate, much like after we top scrub. And then once that floor is dry, we're ready to lay down finish. The application of the finish is incredibly easy. If anybody has ever put down floor finish before, either with a microfiber flat mop or even a string mop, pulling a T-bar is not difficult at all. And it's part of the training that we provide is teaching you how to pull that. The finish is very forgiving, so you don't have to be as careful as you do with other finishes, especially if you're talking about an oil-based gym finish. You have to be extremely careful. Anything you leave in the floor when you're pulling it, any imperfections will dry that way. They don't level very well, whereas Kote PC levels. It's just fantastic in its leveling agents. So if you're not 100% perfect on the application, it's going to level out and it's going to blend and it's going to look just fine. So it's very forgiving. It's also fast drying. Typically, a coat will dry in about an hour under normal circumstances. In the dead of summer when it's 100 degrees and you got 100% humidity, you might see that dry time double. So you might have to wait, maybe 2.5 hours, just depending on humidity, but still fast drying compared to the other products on the market. So you have our commitment is 2-5-24, which means it takes 2 guys 5 hours to fully prep and apply the product. And you're playing on that gym floor the next day. So we've really removed the seasonality out of having to do gym floors in the summer when schools are shut down and nobody's on that floor. You can do these floors right before basketball season so that your floor looks the best that it absolutely can right before the season starts. And it's going to continue to look great throughout the season. On top of that, Kote PC is also burnishable. So let's say you're in the middle of the basketball season and the gloss starts dropping due to heavy traffic, or you get a bunch of scuff marks that you want to get up. You can burnish this floor just like you can a floor finish on a VCT floor, and it's going to remove scratches, remove scuffs. It's going to raise the gloss. And more importantly, it's going to raise that slip coefficient back to a safe standard so that your athletes are protected from slip and falls on that floor, which is a huge safety component in schools when we're talking about young athletes. So that's a huge plus for Kote PC. And then, we've talked a little bit about the overall process and the simplicity of the process. And people tell me all the time, Jake, I can't believe it's that easy. There's got to be a catch somewhere. There's got to be, something that makes this more difficult than what you're telling me. And it's just not. It's something that a lot of people say you have to prove it, you have to show me. And that's what we do best is we go out and we show you the process. We walk you through how to do it. We train your employees how to do it. And really, once they've done it once, they're good to go. Although we're here to retrain if we need to, we generally don't have to just because, again, the process is so simple. And, we do a really good job of training your people on how to achieve great results.
So Jake, again, we talk about this over and over again, is having the knowledge to better your process and bringing in the essential experts to show you how you can better the process. Again, I talk about bringing in the experts. Now, we are experts when it comes to cleaning, disinfecting, and most importantly, helping with these gym floors. Very daunting process, something that we have a lot of people that, like you said at the beginning of this, that they're frightened of it, frightened of the process. And so they bring somebody else in to do it. And with our expert advice, we can have people learn how to take care of it on their own and not be so afraid of it. And like you said, it's simple and it's something that you can do, and we never leave you hanging. We can come back and train again. If you would like more information or to reach out to a team member in your area, leave us a message on LinkedIn or go to our website at www.essind.com. And we look forward to seeing you again in the essential space. Thanks, Jake.